Morning.
All right, guess we're ready to go.
Yes, sir.
Call the meeting to order officially. As is our custom, we'll go around and introduce ourselves, start at the table, and then in the back corner, you can tell us your name and organization you represent or title, whatever's appropriate. All right, Tyrone Nelson, Michael County.
Neil Gibson, City Attorney's Office.
Dave Anderson, Chesterfield.
Barb Smith, Chesterfield. Nicole Jones, City of Richmond.
Ellen Robertson, City of Richmond.
Terrell Hughes, Henrico County.
Cheryl Adams, CEO.
Jim Engel, Chesterfield County.
From County's GRTC.
Ashley Fernandez, Please Review.
GRTC.
Jan Swift, GRTC.
Anthony Potter, GRTC.
Ashley Potter, GRTC. Monica Belief, City Attorney's Office.
Michael Burke, GRTC. Joe Dillon, GRTC.
Adrian George, GRTC.
Timothy Martin, GRTC.
Ronaldo Joe, GRTC.
Emily Brown, GRTC. Laura Chisholm, GRTC. I'm City, GRTC. Patricia Robinson, GRTC. Sharika Ruffin, RideFinders.
Chester, GRTC.
Dave Wild, GRTC.
Ken Lance, Flint RVA.
GRTC.
Casada Readers, GRTC.
All right. Thank you. We didn't have any public comments as of yesterday. And doesn't sound like anybody in here is making public comments. So we're going to move to our CEO report.
Good morning, everyone. I have a list, but I'll make it quick. First off, as we always start off with our employees of the month. Our first one is the Transportation Department Operator Sean Anderson. Recently, Operator Anderson had 2 male passengers aboard her bus that were arguing when one pulled out a knife. During the situation, Operator Anderson remained extremely calm while contributing to the other passengers staying calm as well. Service was delayed, but was not stopped. Operator Anderson is saluted for maintaining a calm demeanor while facing an angry passenger who wielded a knife. She handled the situation with professionalism and bravery. Thank you, Operator Anderson. Unfortunately, she's not here with us this morning, but we want to applaud her. Next up is from our maintenance department, Mechanic Jeff Williams. Mechanic Jeff embodies an employee of the month. He is a reliable, experienced mechanic with strong mechanical skills, solid attendance, and a good eye for troubleshooting. He gets the job done right. And he's probably home in the bed because he works evenings, so we'll give him applause. Our last one for the month is from our Safety and Security Department. Our Public Safety Ambassador, Monday Brown. PSA Brown is a true representative of the Public Safety Ambassador Program. She is vigilant in monitoring areas in and around the lobby and all over GRTC while providing assurance of keeping employees safe. PSA Brown fills in when called upon and takes her role seriously. She is great at making sure every employee scans their badge to enter the building while always acting in a respectful, professional manner. Her customer service approach to those visiting with or without appointments is always welcoming. Thank you, PSA Brown, and she is here with us. Thank you. She couldn't wait to get out of here. Next up, we want to talk about some VTA awards that GRTC received. We were recently recognized by the VTA with 4 statewide awards. The first one was Outstanding Public Transit Marketing for our Tap into Transit Day marketing program from last year. The next one was the Helen Poor Transit Professional Distinguished Service Award, and that was given to Ann Jones. And some of you may remember Ann was here before she retired. She was a We Drive You dispatcher that had worked for 29 years, and we recognized her. VTA also recognized her. We submitted her, and they selected her. The other one was the Transit Employee Unsung Hero Award, and our operator, Curtis Page, received that award. Curtis was also recognized. He was the one that helped locate a missing 12-year-old girl a few months back, and so they recognized him for that. And last but not least, and Mondays, Outstanding Community Program Safety for the Public Safety Ambassador Program. So that program is getting some recognition throughout the state, and we're excited about that, and it's really helping, and we're doing great things. So we were excited about the awards that we received through the Virginia Transit Association. Also during that meeting, that conference, we had our very own Miss Cassandra Reeder, she's hiding in the corner back there, who completed the leadership program. The VTA leadership program is sponsored with VTA in conjunction with the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation. And they select people from different agencies throughout the state to go through this program. The purpose of the program was to engage, elevate, and cultivate the next generation of public transportation leadership. The focus was on leadership development, knowledge expansion, and skill enhancement. Ms. Reeders gained valuable leadership insight through training and exposure to the industry. She had a unique opportunity to visit transit agencies around the state, to network and build connections. We are so looking forward to Ms. Reeders applying her newly acquired leadership skills in her day-to-day responsibilities and team interactions in the operations department. Congratulations, Ms. Reeders. As we informed most of you during the committee meetings, the plans for our permanent downtown transfer hub have taken another step forward. We now have 4 development teams that have been selected to advance their request for proposal phase. So a development partner is expected to be selected by the end of this year, we hope. So we're excited about that prospect. Our Tap into Transit Day. We've been talking about that for months. It's less than a month away now. So we are so excited. I am excited to announce that we have surpassed our sponsorship from last year, which is good. We've gotten a lot of exciting things for our silent auction that we're gonna have. We've had a lot of businesses and organizations donate things for the silent auction. So be on the lookout for that. We're gonna open it up prior to the July 14th event. But there's a couple of things I have my eyes on and I want to bid on. So it's on July 14th from 4:30 to 7:30 at Main Street Station. So we're looking forward to that, less than a month. And last but not least is our FTA triennial review was this year. We had the reviewers come on site June 2nd and 3rd. And it was overall a good review. So the purpose of the triennial review is to make sure that we are administering our FTA funded programs in accordance with FTA laws and provisions. The review is assessed 9 different areas to include financial management, grants, procurement, maintenance, safety, ADA, Title VI. I'm happy to say that the reviewers gave us a lot of kudos. They said that the staff demonstrated a high level of engagement, professionalism, collaboration throughout the entire review process. And this thing started, I think, in January or February, early this year, and it ended with them coming on site. The team worked proactively to provide requested documentation in a timely manner. GRTC demonstrates a strong commitment to safety, reliability, and accessibility across the revenue vehicle fleet. The team demonstrated strong coordination across all the different functions. So we thought we got through with flying colors, but we did have one deficiency, and that was dealing with our contingency fleet plan. But we have since got that to them. And so hopefully when they issue the final report in 45 days, that will be resolved and we won't have any deficiencies. But to get away with only that deficiency is huge. And they told us, FTA told us that in the exit conference, they said normally you have deficiencies in procurement or grants or other major areas. But our contingency plan is just us allowing us to have additional vehicles for emergencies or training. And we just had to document which vehicles were a part of that plan and where they were stored. So there were a couple of minor things that we easily resolved and submitted. I am pleased. I want to thank all of the staff for the hard work because it was a lot of work in addition to everything else, but it's over for 3 years. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. That was
I tried.
recognizing our folks for the great work they do and excited about the hub RFP moving forward and tapping the transit day is exciting. So I think that's July 14th was the day.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes.
All right, colleagues, you received a copy of the board meeting minutes. Anybody have any questions or anything? If not, can we get a motion to accept those?
Second.
All right, motion's been made in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Consent agenda, we have system implementer for ERP and insurance renewals. Anybody have any questions for Anthony, for Mr. Carter or Ms. Torres? All right, hand none. Can we get a consent agenda motion?
So,
All
second.
right, moving to second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, resolution for support, smart scale, Ms. Toothman. And I think this is an action item.
Yes. The board, as many of you know from my reports in the committee meetings, GRTC has 10 slots for smart scale applications. Smart scale is a program of VDOT to fund transportation projects throughout Commonwealth Virginia. This year, in collaboration with the County of Henrico, the City of Richmond, and the Virginia Public Rail Authority, we submitted 6 pre-applications. GRTC submitted 2 for the northern and southern segments of the North-South BRT. The City of Richmond submitted 1 application for the central portion of the North-South BRT. Henrico County submitted applications for the Western Extension for construction funding and for a Willow Lawn Transfer Center and Park and Ride. And the VPRA submitted a pre-application for the Fulton layover area for trains. Of those applications, the northern and central segments of the BRT, North-South BRT, were permitted to move forward. We will have to combine the southern section with the central section to move that forward as a combined full application. And then the western extension, the Willow Lawn Park and Ride, and the Fulton Yard were all allowed to move forward as full applications. We're asking, we're required to provide a resolution of support for all of the applications that come forward under GRTC's name. And so we're asking for a resolution of support for all of the applications that are moving forward to full application status. Those applications will be due August 3rd, but between now and then we have multiple deadlines for various pieces of documentation that have to be prepared for each one of those.
All right, any questions? So this motion is, the wording of it is just support for the resolution for the application. All right, so anybody have any questions?
It's probably just a comment. I know we've had a chance to talk about it, not in great depth, but of course, the original Richmond application that didn't get to move forward, I think we were disappointed in that. After I've done a little research, I do know it's not a GRTC thing, but it was how it had something to do with the scoring process, et cetera. So I know one of the things that I would like for us to be able to do is have just a joint letter of support if we feel like that would strengthen it, that would come from the Richmond delegation, because we want to make sure that, project comes forward, because that definitely impacts a hub for our constituents. And so anything we can do to strengthen it, especially knowing that that individual application won't be able to move forward. I intended to send it before this meeting, but did not have the time to be able to do so or share it with my colleagues. So I'm not sure how we should you know, if we can do that motion with the knowledge that we will be providing that letter of support, it would be helpful and meaningful to us.
That would be for the combined central and southern sections of the North South.
Anybody having a problem with that? All right, any other questions, comments? All right, noting the request from Mr. CAO. Let's move forward with a resolution if we can. Yep. Can we get a motion?
So move.
All right. Second, moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Ms. Tufin. Development updates.
Okay, last week, the development committee met and we discussed the 3-day transit planning workshop that was held in early June. It was well attended by jurisdictions in the region. And the purpose of the workshop was to develop some concepts for near-term service for FY28 through FY32. And so two of the concepts were built around existing funding levels, and one focused on ridership, the other focused on coverage, and then the third concept focused on expansion. I think there was an intent to try to build that on a 20% increase to the budget. I could be wrong, but we well exceeded that at the workshop. So I think everyone is interested in more transit, but you know, the money is always an issue. Jarrett Walker, who is the consultant, is refining the concepts, and drafts will be available in August in time for the board retreat. And the plan will be finalized in 2027. We got a legislative update. And on the federal level, the Surface Transportation Reauthorization, which is the 5-year framework for federal transportation funding limits, expires in September. Build America 250 is working its way through the House, and the Senate has not released its version yet. Whatever is approved then requires appropriations through other actions. And that can be things like the FY27 Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Appropriations Bill, which is the acronym is THUD. And that bill shows reductions to transit formula funding and a large reduction to capital investment grants, which is a good source for BRT. And I think Joe told us that there is discussion about just completely going away with the capital investment grant source, which would be detrimental for BRT support. Transit infrastructure grants, which are used for immediate capital investments like buses or maintenance facilities, that grant does remain funded so far. And there's no change in the US DOT proposal to ban universal free fare transit. So I don't think there's been any more discussion on that. On the state level, new legislation goes effect July 1 that allows transit agencies to use cameras on buses to enforce laws around parking, stopping, or standing in bus stop zones or lanes. GRTC staff is developing a plan for implementation, which will likely involve piloting on select corridors and developing preliminary financial scenarios around recovering some of those fines to support GRTC operations. They will be reaching out to localities to discuss that. And then Laura gave us some updates on projects. For this property where we are, engineering for the conceptual design will begin at the end of this year. And that design will include space for a transfer station, administration, parking, and fleet storage. And that's funded with a merit grant from DRPT. At the temporary downtown transfer station, pavement repair will start next week and take a month to complete. Regarding the Western Post extension, VDOT requested modeling for the transit signal prioritization, so that's delayed completing NEPA, but they anticipate getting FTA's review in August or September. North-South Pulse design advancement work continues with a focus on station locations per FDA requirements. NEPA for that is expected to be complete at the end of this year. Let's see, and last, but in no way least, essential transit infrastructure. 219 benches and shelters have been installed. 47 are approved for installation and 88 are awaiting permit approvals. So making a good dent on that. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bob. Always giving such detail.
Sorry, I try to shrink it.
Don't apologize. No, that's good.
Great. Sorry.
Of all the boards and stuff I sit on when we do these committee reports, you are probably the best out of all of us.
Thank you.
Patricia Robinson, service updates.
Morning.
On
I also printed out the tables just because I'm aware in the presentation, they're a little dense and maybe a little hard to read, so I thought maybe that might be 2 pages.
Oh,
each one.
Oh, thanks, Dexter. Appreciate it.
thank you.
So just our high level of service updates for our July 2026 booking. This goes live on July 12th. We are looking at layover adjustments near the Oakwood neighborhood on the routes 4A and 4B. This was in response to just neighborhood and homeowner complaining about the noise that generates from the bus at a layover point. So adjusting that so that there's minimum time spent there versus the other end of line. Routes 5 and Route 20, we adjusted some run times for improved on-time performance. So that's using our new software swiftly and taking advantage of that and seeing the adjustments that it suggests and moving forward with that and see how they go. And then we can do a little bit more widespread runtime adjustments to follow suit. Our 7A and 7B, this is making our temporary detour so that buses aren't laying over at Richmond International Airport due to safety concerns. Once we were asked to change that practice, we adjusted it right away, but this is just making that adjustment permanent as far as our schedules and what's in our computer system for the operators. And then Route 95, we have added service to Bright Point Community College, so doing that loop both inbound and outbound on Route 95 Express for better connectivity and route utilization. And that also follows suit Pittsburgh Area Transit on the trips that they're running to and from the city. Also do that same need around Petersburg Transit, so around Bright Point College, excuse me. So just added to our connectivity. We have a couple of added trips for our 5 and our 7A, 7B. These are trips that were reduced with the operator shortage from that February 2026 booking. So looking to add those back. So primarily in that weekday July 26 column, instead of ending that 30-minute service at 9, it'll go to 10 on the Route 5. And then very similar for the 7A and 7B, instead of ending the 30-minute at 7, that'll increase till 8. See if there's any. And then we also, just to look back at the routes that aren't being prioritized for this round of service restoration, I did break these apart from what is in your PowerPoint, just because it was very dense. So tier 1 and tier 2 routes, these are routes that do not have any service adjustments right now. Separated them based on weekday service and high ridership versus primarily weekend service. Just knowing, 5 days in a 5 weekday schedules in a week does impact more riders than a Saturday or Sunday service. So these are ones that are staying with the February reduction still in place for July. And then similarly, this is our weekend ridership that would still stay in place with these impacts through July. And then I just wanted to take a second to look at our Broad Rock link. This is our newest link zone that's been operating since October. We can kind of see our steady increase in ridership as people are getting adjusted to the new model and riding. So this replaced our old Route 88. So you can also kind of see that same utilization. A lot of people, the Southside Plaza, and then Philip Morris is that hot spot kind of in the center there as well as some neighborhood resource center as well. We are almost at the same ridership, about 200 short of our monthly ridership from what the previous 88 was doing, and this steady incline just kind of shows that the ridership on this zone hasn't quite plateaued yet. So we're excited to see some more information on this. And then not this past development committee, but the one previous to that, there was a question of just kind of who's riding the pulse with a focus on demographics and kind of understanding who is using our pulse and how that may be different from our local buses. So we did kind of provide this demographic information by race and by age. And then the next slide here, a little bit closer, a little zoomed in, is income and education level. Just to follow up on that request for more information.
All right, any questions?
I've got a question real quick about the 1A weekend service. It says alternate trips to ending at Spring Rock Green and Walmart all day. So that means they're sort of on a 60-minute headway.
Yes.
All right, that's it. I'm sorry. You good?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you. Yeah. All right, is this right, Barb? You doing another report?
No, I'm off the hook for operations, though I wrote it up.
So who's doing that? Who is it? Do we have our operations?
Am I doing operations?
You do best.
I know Kevin probably has more detail, but I understand it's been towards the end of the
Got it. Oh, okay, so I don't need to talk about that one. Okay, let's see. A bunch of new fleet vehicles will be delivered in July. 8 articulated buses, 5 microtransit vans, and 10 paratransit vans with larger compressed natural gas tanks. In May, driver staffing was at 317. For June, it's expected to be at 322. And the top of the budgeted range is 325. Kevin explained that there are lots of variables that impact the availability of drivers day to day, which leads to overtime or service reliability impacts. Supervisors are monitoring absenteeism and continue hiring and training of new operators to ensure that drivers are available to provide the planned service to riders. We went over key performance indicators. On-time performance for fixed route remains consistent, and scheduled trips versus actual trips completed for April and May are at 99%. And that's reflective of those February service changes that we implemented earlier this year. So that was good, reliable service. Despite some staffing shortages, paratransit has 95% on-time performance for about 1,000 trips per day. And that equates to about 25,000 to 26,000 trips per month. Microtransit is providing about 8,000 trips per month. And then customer service, there was a 30% increase in customer complaints on fixed routes in May and a 40% decrease for paratransit. And we heard some really good comments from our riders about the operators. Fleet maintenance microtransit and paratransit maintenance is meeting goals and showing positive trends for road calls and miles between failure. Fixed route road calls are trending in a positive direction, but not quite meeting goals yet. Miles between failures for fixed route is trending up and just passed the established goal of 8,000 miles in May. Traffic accidents increased in May, as did incidents for the public safety officers. Assistance provided by the public safety ambassadors remained steady. And then we got an overview of the claims management process. So that was it. Any questions on that?
You weren't prepared to do the reports. Huh?
No, I started. Yeah, anyway.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. We appreciate you.
Yep.
So,
We'll just let Barb do finance.
yeah,
Let's see what she's got for that.
That's a whole nother language.
finance, our chair was not able to make the meeting. Our vice chair is not here. Our finance leader is also out. So we're gonna Bogdan. All right. Bogdan is gonna step in and give us a financial report. Good morning.
Quick snapshot on financial report. Yes, it's working. Okay, statement of income. So we have three statements here. That shows again the snapshot of April. We took test. So going on the P&L, which you see that on page 5 on the board package, we started expenses, and pretty much what I'm going to show here are the main variances compared to the budget. So if you're looking to the expenses, we see an unfavorable variance of 12.2 million. And moving forward, those are the main drivers. So the main categories that they did some savings, their transportation equipment, and you see here the reason for that. I'll go fast, so if you have questions, please.
You don't have to go, take your time.
The other categories that did savings, and the major ones, planning and scheduling with 8.8 million planning of consulting projects, they all postponed, and you see there are all the studies. Also, we do have some savings on the journal initiative, and that's because we had lower headcount. And of course, less advertising that had an actual versus the budget. We do have two unfavorable variances here, pretty much self-insurance losses. And of course, the cost of paratransit is higher than we budgeted. And overall, you will see that 12.2 based on all of those variances. Going on the top, on the main revenues, we do have also a negative variance of 7.6 million. These are the categories that contribute less on revenues, but we do have a net positive here, as you see around 260K. Forward on the federal side, we have 1.9 less than we budgeted. Pretty much 4 million is coming from the planning consulting studies, because as I mentioned previously, we didn't do those studies, so of course we didn't have revenues, which is offset by a better usage of ARPA funds. We don't see such a big variance on the state funds because we had some spill out revenues from the FY25 because we postponed some projects. So we extend them in 25, we incur them in 25 based on accounting. But the revenues, we capture them in 26 because this one did the payments. And of course, we have more positive revenues there, 1.2 million, because we catch out some GRTC paratransit services. In terms of local funds, the main driver is GRTC fund balance, but seeing the previous slides, we didn't have to use those funds, so that's why we see that 4.1 million with red. And overall, if you combine all of those, we do have a 4.3 change in net position, and that's the snapshot of the paper. Based on that, we did a forecast, and we anticipate comparing with what we have presented as of March. Not so many changes there. A little bit less revenues, but in the same time, in terms of expenses, we are forecasting that there will be also less with about 336K compared with March forecast. And overall, that's driving a net position. And again, this is the forecast, how we estimate to finalize the FY26 fiscal year. We estimate that to finalize with net position 1.8 million. If you compare this with 4.3 that we have shown on the actuals, you see a variance between 4.3 and 1.7, but that's factoring also some forecasting, 1 million planning consulting services that will catch up, and also we have some historical trends of fuel being more expensive lately because of the gas price increase. Going to the balance sheet, the second statement, which you find is on page 17. Not going so much in details here. I'm just showing the current assets where we have most of the changes, and pretty much we see a variance of about 10 million, an increase that sits now in accounts receivable. And that's driven mostly because we do have approved funds from FDA, but we are not able to draw down that yet. And you will see in the next slide in cash flow, how is that impacting? So that's the major change in the balance sheet compared to the previous reports. And as I said, in the cash flow, and you see this on page 18 on the board package, here on the top, you see the cash receipts. Those are the main categories. Sorry, back. We had to postpone that almost 10 million from FDA from June to August, and that's why we transferred some funds to sustain the operating cash flow. Then on the bottom is the cash disbursements with not unexpected changes on benefits and wages. And of course, we do have some vehicles that we are expecting. Some of them are already here in June, and we're expecting more in July and August. And that's why you see the capital being a little bit more volatile. Overall, the cash position should be around 2 million in June and July, and then we have a peak in August because of the federal funds that we have presented.
Questions? Yeah, I think for me, I just want to make sure, I know you went over this, and one, I appreciate the highlights and being able to understand the factors that are leading to these outcomes. That's extremely helpful. So I want to make sure we keep doing that. I know I said that at the committee meeting, but I'm going to say it here too, because it's beyond helpful. If you go back just a little bit, what I was curious about is when I look at the total, net projection, it's at, I think it was at like 1.8, yeah, and so no issue there. And it looks like you've already accounted for these things like increased gas and some of these other factors. Are you projecting any additional, I'd say, outputs that, do you believe y'all have kind of taken on most of the, got labor, well, I know those costs are helping us net favorable, but you also have a plan to onboard people, which is going to take those numbers down. All of the factors are just, they're included in this projected net position, or is there, I even saw the consultant cost being included. So I couldn't think of anything as a board member, but are y'all, you've got your contingency all worked out and you feel comfortable that we're trending towards 1.8, as the surplus or whatever, however we want to refer to it.
So in the next 2 months, we do see some things that can vary. So we track those here. On April, we had a loss of 600K, so we should keep the trends constant. That means that we're tracking now 100 million.
Got it.
Based on the expenses that we already mentioned.
Okay.
In the same time, we have audited, and that will be the final picture and snapshot that so we do want to keep that slack there. Again, based on the last estimation, should be around 1.7 million. We'll see how it will stay.
Yeah, look, just curious. I know with the city, we using the same exercise and kind of the same visuals, but the outputs are much different. The war, the lack of investment from the feds and things of that nature are actually having a deeper impact for us. So I was just curious if you caught everything. Yeah.
We did make an adjustment for fuel because
Yeah. I figured that was going up. Yeah, it's got us too. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna insert, so for board chair report, I'm gonna ask Tony Carter to come and just give us, an update on some claim management and lawsuit stuff.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Go up for it.
So basically what we have here, kind of gave an overview of this. This is going to be a high level overview of our claims management and what happens when we have payouts aspect. This is just a chart showing for FY26 year to date. I think this went up to June 1st of this year, what was actually paid out so far as claims. As you can see, we have through our SIR, which is our self-insurance retention rate, we have a certain level that we have to pay out. And then we also have excess report or excess insurance. This really doesn't show that aspect of it. What this shows out is basically monthly what was paid out. Now, the numbers are sort of, I'm not going to say not accurate. This is what we actually paid out, but claims come in, claims go out at different times. When you're sued or when you have claims that come out and you have to pay out claims, doesn't mean that they're going to come in one day and you pay them out the next day. It takes time to analyze and everything. So you may have certain claims, large claims that get paid out at a certain time. And this just shows from July of 25 to May of 26, how it actually pays out throughout the months. Basically. This is risk management. This is our protocol when it comes to claims management overall. Every claim that we handle follows this structured process. The actual accident occurs, the initial review, coverage of responsibilities assessed, investigation, evaluation, mediation, and the actual settlement. We have an in-house claims team that handles these. It consists of our risk specialist and our senior claims consultant. And everyone, like I said, every time we get a claim, every time we get a situation that comes in, it goes through this process. Lawsuits. And basically what we have, when we have lawsuits come in, majority of the lawsuits that come in start off as claims. And they come in as actual claims we're familiar with or we review them. Most situations we deny the claims, or in some situations we make settlement offers and they're not happy with the settlement offers. They then go and retain attorneys. What happens at that point in time, we receive the actual copy of the lawsuit, we do the initial review, coverage responsibilities are assessed, and then it's assigned to an actual lawyer. Our lawyer through our city code is city attorney's office through Richmond. In other situations that we have more exposure and it's involving our excess coverage, which means it's over that threshold of $325,000, it's assigned out to an external attorney, which is found through our Virginia Transit Liability Pool, who handles our excess coverage. Same process takes place, the assignment to the legal counsel. They're doing their investigation as well as we're doing our investigation. The majority of their investigation feeds off of what we found in investigating and reviewing the claim. And then we work together with the actual evaluation system. It then goes through the litigation process, which is the attorney side, which is the discovery phase, which the information that we've had in our claims from our investigation and gathered, plus what the actual plaintiff is bringing against us, we review that. The mediation or the settlement conference, when we get together with the actual attorneys from our side as well as the plaintiff side and come up with a settlement, I guess you could say a way of settlement. If it can't be settled, then it's trial prep. And that's when we're actually going together and getting all the information to get ready to go to trial. And then the trial actually takes place, the verdict and the resolution of payment. So in a nutshell, it's a lot of stuff that's handled on the claim side as well as the lawsuit side. They mingle together. It's a process, and it's, this is the actual flow of it, but it's time that we have situations where we can speed it up a little bit, and then the times that it's dragged on. It just depends on the actual case. But I wanted to give you a brief overview of how we handle the actual claims side of it versus the lawsuit side, just to give you an understanding of how the claims processes work and the risk management work. Any questions? Like I said, that was high level, so if you have more detailed questions, I'll be happy to answer anything.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. I want us to go into executive session unless you guys have some questions. If not, I move that GRTC's Board of Directors hold a closed meeting pursuant to section 2.2-371187 and 2.2-1188 of the Code of Virginia for consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members pertaining to actual litigation. For such consultation and open meeting would adversely affect GRTC's negotiating or litigating posture and consultation with legal counsel employed by GRTC regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel, to discuss the facts of and evaluate actual litigation involving personal injuries allegedly caused by GRTC. All right, been moved in second, all opposed. Who do you want to stay?
Tony, Kevin, Ashley, Joe, and Adrian.
All right, Tony, Kevin, Ashley, Joe, and Adrian. Everybody else, we'll see y'all in a few. meeting on this date. Pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires certification by the board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements under Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certifying resolution applies, and only such public business meetings as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the board. Witness the following vote of board members. Tyrone Nelson certifying yes. Jim Ingle.
Yes.
Barb Smith.
Yes.
Steve Anderson.
Yes.
And Smith not here. Terrell Hughes.
Yes.
Odie Donald.
Yes.
Ellen Robertson.
Yeah.
Cole Jones.
Yes.
All right. Any other business? Meeting adjourned.
Yes.